start now, or do you mean to go back?
Hmm?
You want to go ahead and start?
Versus.
Getting a nice stage start. We can just go with this.
What's staged?
Well, I can restart the video and already record by accident when I was putting in the thing.
Oh. So you're already videoing, is what you're saying.
I am. I didn't go live, though.
Yeah.
Good morning. This is a special post-hurricanean, I can call it that. We didn't experience hurricane force winds here, not sustained. You know me, I'm Andy. This is my special guest, Tracy the Inuit. Dressed up.
It's cold.
It's not that cold, folks. Hold on. Let me have some coffee.
And I was having bad hair.
Well, that's allowed. I realized I'm repping my Seabase and Seabase shirt after the kids brought me the hat up. It's beautiful out. It's so
Always beautiful after a storm.
It's so quiet. Isn't it quiet?
I won't be on that beach.
It won't be on the beach in a little while. We're gonna take our new dinghy up to the dinghy dock in just a little while. And
First, we're going to scour the harbor for treasures. Because I can spot something over there already.
What is it?
Maybe just a plastic bag, but it could be a treasure.
It could be a treasure. So way back when you do that. It's cute when you do. way back when we were down off New Cut Road and New Cut.
way back, like 3 weeks ago.
It was like 2 months ago now. New Cut Creek River.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Off Chisholm Road and off Johns Island. We had that microburst come up and we lost
No.
a beloved, Camden loved this thing, Home Depot bucket overboard. We lost that, and we lost the cover to our Raymarine chart plotter.
So if anybody finds it,
Anybody finds it, we had a spare, we're good, we're fine. We lost this beloved Home Depot bucket, and during the storm the other day, Camden saw a bucket coming down the way. It's like, oh, there's a bucket, it's a Home Depot bucket. And we
perfect.
say,
We've been trying to figure out if maybe it's even ours. I mean, probably not, but it could happen.
So we saved that bucket. We've been picking up trash. I mentioned it last night when the harbor master was calling me during the storm because I was his eyes and ears. He was at home on what was going on in his little cut here. And the marina is just finishing up some upgrades, so the only thing they really had open was their mooring balls, and he kind of oversees the area. He's like, did you see anything strange? Like, other than some garbage cans and buckets? And he's like, anything bigger than that? Tracy's like, oh yeah, while you were napping,
You mean the dumpster?
it was a bright green dumpster that floated by. I don't see it anymore.
It didn't float by. I just saw it in the brushes over there. But it was like, is that a that's a dumpster.
So we may go try to find that today and tag it for him so they can float it out.
A big dumpster.
A big
Bright
dumpster.
green. Lime green.
What are our takeaways from this past storm, sweetie? You want to start? You want me to?
That if you're somewhere that has really crappy holding and really good mooring balls, grab one.
That's number one, numero uno, is get everything off deck that you can, reduce your windage.
4 people behind us. I don't know how many times they reset their anchor yesterday.
All the time.
All day. All day.
And yesterday wasn't even, it was the worst day, but they reset their anchor day and night. And their main anchor, I said they just bought a new one. It's upgraded. They didn't tell me the model. I'm not calling them out for being wrong in any way. I know they're on the page and they follow us. I was up with them, today's Saturday?
Yeah.
Thursday night on Facebook Messenger, just checking on them every half hour all night long. And it looks like you're moving, but you still have plenty of room behind you. And I know that had to be horribly nerve-wracking for them. Their main new upgraded anchor had a 125 foot of chain out, which should have been enough.
I guess it's the first time we've swung in this direction, it feels like.
It feels like we're totally over.
Yeah.
They had a backup anchor out with 70 feet of chain, and then they had a third anchor out And they couldn't tell me the sizes or models because they said they came with the boat and they're corroded and rusty and everything with just some rope rode, and it was dragging all three all the time. So somebody had to go up on deck and pull everything up, pull the two manuals up, pull up the anchor, try to drive up into the wind.
This
and
might be Larry coming.
dropping everything. Larry might be coming. The harbor master? How
Is
far away
somebody
is
going down boat to boat? It looks like. Maybe not.
uh,
It may have just been the guy off that power boat that was just checking it and going leaving.
Okay. So they had a rough few days, and just messaged with them this morning. Their mooring ball opened up behind us, but they're holding well now. I think they're going to sleep all day today and tonight. If I were them, I would. I slept in this morning. It was almost 9 o'clock
I
when
know.
I got a text from Mr. O'Hearn
Oh, the pelicans are back.
to check on me. The Pelicans never really left. They just hunkered down.
Hi, pelican.
Hey, Mr. Pelican. She's not wearing her pelican pants today, though.
Sorry, dude. They're wet.
He's coming in to say hi, though. Hi, guy. Don't look up with your mouth open, though. Okay.
That would be gross.
Oh. So, other takeaways. You know, it was all new to us. It was completely new to me. So it was very nerve-wracking for the first day and a half, and then by the time yesterday blew around in 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and we knew our original bridle was holding, we had a backup pennant on the bridle, and then we had a big honking line going from the front of each bow up to the pennant on the mooring ball. We had double redundancy. We were fine. So yesterday it was more about watching what was going on and making sure that anything floating in the water we could pick up that we could,
And a dumpster didn't hit us.
and that a dumpster didn't hit us. Not that we really would have anything on board to get out of the way of dumpster.
Yeah, you could spin out of the way if you had
We'd
to.
fire up the motors and kind of spin out of the way. But these mooring balls hold well here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina. They're $20 a night. The Harbor Master Larry is wonderful and spot on. And when we came in on Wednesday night, I hit reserve on Dakwa, and he called me on the phone and talked to us for 20 minutes. Gave us so much good background information that helped us make decisions. So really appreciate that. But we're back to normal coffee. I mean, we drank a lot. I drank a lot of coffee the last few days. I probably need to replenish my kids' Asian coffee packets, which are these little foil packets of instant coffee and instant cream and lots of sugar, and it's very tasty at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yesterday we stopped the kids from grazing so much. Nick only had 4 meals.
He was trying for 5.
He was trying for 5, wasn't he?
I busted him.
If you walk out of that salon for a few minutes, they'll go make a sandwich like that and then sneak off and try to go down in their halls. And food's not allowed in their halls for a reason. Or they'll try to sneak out the other side and go the other way. Or you're coming around one way on the boat, they'll come out and go around the other. What worked well, honey? Our new dinghy rode really well in that
Yeah.
storm.
Oh, yeah, and then we had the other dinghy fiasco. So we have our old dinghy still on board that we had flipped upside down on the bow on the trampoline and tied down to the trampoline, and I just wasn't thinking about it becoming a complete freaking windsock.
Well, you turn into the wind. If the camera's the wind, the bow of the boat turns into it
Yeah,
always.
stays into the wind. So I'm
and-
sitting in the salon.
The bows kind of channel it, and then there's a nacelle of the floor of the salon.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the salon.
And Andy's sleeping, and I just happened to catch out of the corner. Well, I heard, and I didn't know what it was, but caught out of the corner of my eye the dinghy going sailing up in the air.
It was tied down.
It was tied down, so the dinghy and the trampoline went sailing up in the air, and so I ran out screaming his name to come help me, and got the kids to wake him up. So I just sat on the dinghy until he came upstairs because I was afraid to try to get off of it.
It was kind of one of those things like, is there a bat in my hair? But
Yeah.
you have to go from asleep to
This let's see. That dinghy, right? Way over.
Yes, I see it.
Yeah, that one. Okay, was sailing up in the air, tied down to the boat. So we made the executive decision to
We threw
throw it overboard because that was the safest place for it.
and it rode fine.
Yep.
It filled up about a quarter of the way with water, which settled it down, and it just rode right behind the boat where it's supposed to.
Now the conundrum is going to be how to get it back out of the water.
If we decide to.
we may just tow it. We'll see.
So we're still in Carolina Beach. We're in the little cut. I know Gordon asked about
I
where
just
it was.
posted a picture of it.
And the nice thing about this spot, besides the really cheap $20 a day mooring balls, if you're in the area, just pay it. Just throw some money at Larry as a city employee and go to sleep at night, not worrying about an anchor. It's not a river, so it's not a cut. It's not. There is a tidal change, and we saw as much as there's supposed to be about a 3 or 4 foot tide in here, and we saw about 4 feet over that while we were in here.
Yeah, because the streets were all flooded over there.
It's just a beautiful, quaint little area. We're wanting to go ashore today, and Tracy wants to walk the beach and look for some shells washed up. And we want to restock some fresh produce.
Groceries, yeah.
I'm going to circle back to what the takeaways were. My sister always says 911 is what you call a minute before something happens or a minute after something happens for someone to show up in 15 minutes. We listened to VHF Channel 16 the whole time just to hear the Coast Guard and hear if anybody was in distress and try to get a kind of a feel for what happens during a storm. And the main Coast Guard base is in Charleston, which is 150 miles from us. You got Charleston, you got Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, and then kind of where we're at, which is just off the Cape Fear River, or just below Wilmington. And the first thing was the Shana Marie,
Yeah.
which you can hear the Coast Guard talk because they've got repeaters and big honking transmitters, and you can't usually hear the vessel in distress, but we could at one point hear from them. Calling the Shana Marie, and they were calling it the sailing vessel that was in distress. And they finally got the captain on the phone, and they talked to the captain for about 3 hours. It turns out the Shana Marie is a fishing vessel. It is a shrimp boat.
Yeah. 67 feet.
67 feet out of Schims Creek in Charleston, South Carolina, and they were just heading north to try to get away from the storm, and they developed engine problems. And they were about 4 miles offshore when they developed engine problems, and they dropped anchor as far as I could tell. And they talked to the fishing vessel for about 3.5 hours that we heard, and at that point they said, oh, it'll be at least 2.5 hours before we can get a chopper to you guys to get you off the boat. Fast forwarding ahead, everybody got off safely, and there's some great video I'll link later on this page. And the Coast Guard's got some really good AV people on staff that are taking video and editing it down and are finding video of Coast Guard doing the right thing. But they got all the souls off this fishing vessel, and it washed up on shore in Myrtle Beach. And there's even some people in one of the resorts there that filmed
Videoed,
it.
yeah.
And it looks like that boat will be drug off the beach and
hope so.
salvaged and hopefully put back into their
Yeah,
fleet.
they said the Coast Guard post said it was like 20-foot seas and I think 60 knot winds when they pulled them off the boat.
Wow.
Which would be terrifying to listen to if you were aground sitting in that.
Right. So,
The
yes,
Coast Guard is your friend, however.
Coast Guard's your friend, but they might be hours or days away, even if you're just 4 miles offshore.
Well, they won't pick you up if they can't safely pick you up.
So there was that, and then the other major thing we heard was
Sorry, I was watching the pelicans flying along, and then that helicopter came, and they all just zoomed down underneath them.
it's not a newscopter, it's
Yeah, somebody's private.
somebody's private. Sorry about the noise, guys.
Somebody going to work.
The second
Cheers.
thing was, were they on rocks? There's another boat that called in that was on the rocks. don't remember all the details to it because it wasn't as traumatic to me for some reason. Then all the rescue stuff was over with. That's all we heard the whole storm. And then yesterday, the Coast Guard started releasing all the new obstacles that have washed up. There was a fishing vessel that it was sunk in 2017 that was charted, that washed up and floated and re-sunk somewhere else. And they've updated all the NOAA sites and maps to show its new thing. There's a railroad bridge in Conway. We have friends in Conway. That had been in the locked up position, hasn't been used in I think a decade, and sometime during the storm it came down. Watch.
He may be too low. Yeah, he never came on camera. There's a pelican coming through.
It was a pelican. So that train trestle is across the ICW, and the ICW is not passable near Conway, South Carolina right now. Glad we went through there and saw that. We're going to hold up here a day and let a lot of the stuff settle out. Let a lot of the trash in the water.
Dumpsters.
Get out of the way.
Let somebody else find them first.
I don't want to run over anything or run into anything. The cut up to Wilmington, the inlet, is only 9 miles away from here. We have a choice depending on winds, and those will change, and we'll look at it tonight and first thing in the morning. We might try to go out and do a dash over to Beaufort, North Carolina, by sail. We heard back from previous owners. They did periodically have the same rudder driver issue and heavy following seas, which was kind of my gut. We're going to try to sail on that if we have favoring winds. If not, it's only 20 miles more to come up the ICW, and the ICW is slower because there's so many no-wake zones and you're dodging stuff. But we haven't had many crab pots this trip.
No, it hasn't been bad.
Although our friends over on Cool Change that reset their boat 100 times were talking about there's some crab pots out in the middle of that anchorage, and they had to dodge them every time they reset. And I said, if those crab pots were left out in a hurricane, that is just dinner. Like, somebody left you a tasty dinner out there that you could pick up their crab pot.
That's rude.
Move it over a little bit for them out of the main anchorage and toss it back down. And if you wanted to,
More than likely, there's nothing in them.
partake in a few blue crabs as payment for making sure that their crab pot is safely stored out of the way. Everything's good. We did launch our YouTube channel. This will eventually go up on there with the coffee section, which will be my own little personal section on the YouTube channel. Lane, Christine, everybody that knows me from Scouts, I'm thinking about calling it Coffee with And He.
And he walks with me.
If you do voice to text and you say my name, often it says instead of Andy, it does And He. So that's been an inside joke for about 12,
Forever.
15 years, something
Since
like
voice to text started.
Since voice to text on phones started. Or I've got other ideas.
Look how far
But
over here we are. It feels so weird.
it does feel weird because we never had wind from this direction.
I guess.
This direction, this wind would be perfect for sailing offshore, though. But we're not going today.
This would not be perfect. This would be head on. Or no, this
No.
would be straight behind us. I'm sorry.
This would be perfect
I'm
for them.
I'm not joking.
So the coffee clash will go up there. We have like 39 subscribers now, and people have already watched us like 6 or 7 hours online. Which is
That's weird. I mean, who wants to watch us?
What was that Jim Carrey movie? I can't ever remember the name. of it.
The bubble.
Yes, where he lived in the bubble.
Dang it.
I don't remember it.
Anyway, what about it?
I know we're giving up privacy and all that, but it's kind of weird. People.
Okay, you live on a boat. There is no privacy.
That's true. Hey, honey, I need to make a boom boom.
That's nice.
Oh,
I thought it was a whaler, but it's not.
it's not. It's a little quiet little
Jones
Yamaha.
Brothers. I have no idea what this is.
And we're this is kind of Boy Scout Alley. We've got trails in,
Yeah.
little 22-foot sailing boat behind us, and then right beside us is the
Afraid Not.
The
A-
Afraid Not. No,
No,
Afraid.
it's AFRAYED. Afraid Not.
Afraid Not.
I was just hoping his knots weren't too frayed.
Everything held here. It was awesome, other than the anchor behind us. That's pretty much it. I don't want to go any more than what we've gotten so far. I really appreciate everybody watching us and checking on us and texting us and just the thoughts and prayers and well wishes. We're fine. We learned a lot. And we'll maybe get some video in Carolina Beach and do a review of this quaint little village. Love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Stop recording. There we go.
You got fat fingers.
Display's not working.